Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast, or welcome back. It's a holiday week. Hope you have or had the day off. I'm recording this on Thanksgiving. If it wasn't obvious in the way that I'm dressed, little do you know I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts. Today's a special episode. We got some. I wanted to do something fun. And so that's what we're gonna do. I've had this planned for a few days now that I wanted to do this. And so we're gonna rank Star Wars movies. But first, I must talk about a tragedy, an absolute tragedy that has occurred. It has been announced that Coca-Cola is added to the BDS list. If you're wondering, that means boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Devastated. Absolutely devastated. I am an avid Coke Zero drinker. I was going to buy a Coke Zero with the Santa face on it. Really, I shouldn't, because they just came out with an AI commercial that's pretty dog shit. Really, I shouldn't support them because of that. Before this came out, but officially now I cannot buy Coke products anymore. I am a avid follower of the BDS movement. I have not had Burger King, McDonald's, Domino's, any of these things in well over a year at this point. I think I've had a chicken biscuit from McDonald's, but I did not pay for that. Somebody offered it to me and I accepted it. I will eat it if it's free. I've seen that that's generally accepted. If somebody had already bought it and you didn't know, and they don't want it, and they are like, here, take a chicken biscuit, it's okay to eat it. Generally, I think it's more of a, if you're like, hey, can you pick me up something from McDonald's, you're violating the movement. Just because you didn't pay for it doesn't mean it's okay. But Coca-Cola's not on that list. Coke owns Peace Tea. That's the thing I'm devastated by, is Peace Tea. I'm trying to work it out in my own brain if it's okay for me to drink Peace Tea. And I say that because I'm trying to see if this is a Coke product. It is not. It is its own company. I believe drinking Peace Tea could maybe be okay because I don't think Coke makes a lot of profit off of Peace Tea. I don't think they make much off of it at all. It's like the one thing that they never advertise. Pure Tea is like the one that they push the most. The other thing is I was like, oh, why don't I just drink Pepsi now? Like Pepsi products. Pepsi also might be a no-go. Yes, I am right. I had to fact check myself for a second. Pepsi Company owns Sabra, the ones who make Sabra hummus and all those. They own the Strauss Holdings group, pretty much. Sabra hummus has been BDS for like 15 years, if not longer. So, I am screwed. It's time to drink some RC Cola. Right now I'm drinking a C4. Orange cream. New flavor for me. They have a bunch of new 300 milligram flavors, and I'm about to absolutely give myself a heart attack by sipping on that thing. Can I open it, please? Okay. I just wanted to share my absolute devastation over the news that Coke products are now off the table for me. And you might think like, oh, I can go without a Coke, it's the thirstiest time of the year, I don't need a Sprite cranberry per se. Peace Tea? No! Devastated, dude. Absolutely devastated. Wait. Oh, never mind. Old info. Fuck. Originally, Peace Tea was produced by Monster, and now it's Coke. Celsius is clear. Dude, I'm blown. Fucked up. This is so fucked up. They've owned it since 2015. Man. Wait, they have other flavors? Hold on, I'm going a little side tangent here. The only flavors I know about are the Snowberry, which is like a blueberry vanilla type flavor, Sweet Lemon, Razzleberry, which is raspberry, the green tea one, the Caddyshack one, just peachy. Oh, and the mango one. Those are the only ones I know. There are other flavors, like, oh, by the way, Caddyshack is an Arnold Palmer. There are other flavors like pineapple flavor, cherry fizz, which is Canada only, sweet lemon fizz, Canada, strawberry lemon, and mango mood. Discontinued flavors are Ceylon. I don't know how to say that. Strawberry lemon in the U.S., Texas style sweet tea, unsweetened tea, pink lemonade tea, diet green tea, cranberry. Damn, cranberry. Fucked up. Anyways, it says they're an avid competitor to Arizona, Snapple, and Pepsi. Good luck. Shit's expensive. It's like $3 a can. Maybe it's a good thing that we're boycotting them. It'll bring the cost of fucking Peace Tea down. Fuck, man. Peace Tea's expensive as fuck. $3? Alright, let's get started. I'm yapping too much on a podcast. Crazy. Let me get my tier list out. So, we are going to be ranking Star Wars movies. And I have a bonus surprise ranking at the end of the episode. But we have a lot to rank. And a couple things to not rank. By a couple, I mean one. Ugh. Alright. I'm getting a blank tier list. Okay. Here is our tier list. I will be going in order of the movie release, almost. Will I? Yeah, I'm going to go in order of movie release. So, I have to reorder it now. So I will be simply taking the image and ranking it, and I will talk about why I'm ranking it there. So we're going to start with A New Hope. Now, Star Wars A New Hope, you know, a classic. It's the original movie. But I do have some opinions that people might not be super chill with, and it is definitely fueled by my youth. I am not the biggest... Holy shit, I could have picked a smaller image. I'm not the largest A New Hope fan, simply because it has that 70s era slow pacing, and like the pacing's fine. It's too slow for me personally. But like obviously I like the movie. Right here is a Star Wars poster for this movie. The poster that's on the screen is the one hanging up right there. So like clearly I'm a fan of this movie. I just don't like how slow it is. It has that 70s feel. I'm not a big fan of old movies. But I do like this movie, and it lays the foundation of the entire saga, and I think it's a good jumping off point. I don't think it's a good first movie for a new Star Wars watcher. I'm not gonna lie. If they're old, maybe. If they're like my age, show them Rogue One. Rogue One is the perfect introduction into Star Wars. And guess what? Rogue One's a prequel to this movie. You can watch Rogue One and then go straight into A New Hope if you want them to follow the main story of Star Wars. So, A New Hope, I think I'm going to place it... You know what? We'll put it in A. I'll be generous, but like... We'll put it... fourth for now. We'll see what I think about it later. Next up we got Empire Strikes Back. This won't even be controversial. I love The Empire Strikes Back. Absolutely love it. This movie's awesome. I'm getting a good image, by the way. I love The Empire Strikes Back. This movie's great. I believe this is actually the book cover. Yeah, I love The Empire Strikes Back. This one's definitely S tier for me. Oh fuck, I picked another big one again. This one's definitely S tier for me. I would argue it's probably my second favorite Star Wars movie. I'm ranking these, I think, based on quality, though, so this is definitely probably the best Star Wars movie. It's the most cohesive Star Wars movie. Let me close the color wheel. Yeah, that's where I would put Empire Strikes Back. I don't know, I just love how fast-paced this one is. I love the scenes with Yoda. I loved Yoda growing up. I love the cave scene where he sees Vader and basically has to reckon with the fact that he will go down the same path as Vader if he doesn't... Hold on, I did that wrong. He will basically go down the same path as Vader if he doesn't listen to Yoda and stay on Dagobah. Why is my F not showing up? Oh, right, because it's the same color. Duh. This is the F tier down here. But yeah, I love The Empire Strikes Back. I love the... one of my favorite scenes in Empire is when they're in the asteroid chase. When the Falcon is running from the Imperials in the asteroid field. And God, the music during that scene... You know, they redid that song for Solo. I think it's literally called Asteroid Chase, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look, actually. But I love that soundtrack. And yeah, I think Empire is easily one of the best Star Wars movies, if not the best Star Wars movie, objectively. Damn, where the hell is the thingy at? I'm trying to look for it. Empire. The asteroid field. That's what it's called. I think in Solo, it's literally called Asteroid Chase. What is it called in Solo? Oh gosh. Where is it? Reminiscence Therapy. That's what it's called. Yeah, it's Reminiscence Therapy. I don't know why he called it that, but... Anyway, Empire, easily one of the best, if not the best Star Wars movie. Alright. Return of the Jedi. I'm not gonna lie. I may be a bit biased on this. Not biased. I may be a bit harsh on this one. Damn. How do I keep doing that? I might be a bit harsh on this one. Return of the Jedi, when I first saw it, I thought it was awesome. Awesome. I loved this movie. I'm not gonna lie. After watching reviews and then rewatching the movie myself and kind of thinking about it for a while, I go, huh. The third act is awesome. The second act, I don't remember much. The first act is so unbelievably convoluted. The fact that Luke's plan is so convoluted. I mean, it's a good movie, but damn, dude. His plan sucks. And for that, I think, you know what? We're going to put this one here and we're going to move A New Hope over. I told you I would start changing my mind on stuff. The fact that was his plan at the beginning, the movie's just kind of disjointed, I feel like. Oh yeah, let me not open that on screen because I get weird about that. The movie's just so disjointed in some areas, but overall, I do like the movie. You're lit. I do like Return of the Jedi, but I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie. I don't even think it's S tier. I think it's A tier at best. It's a good watch. It's a really good watch. But what's the next one? Oh, The Phantom Menace. Right. I forgot it literally goes originals, prequels, and then all of the Disney stuff where they keep going back and forth. So the prequels. So The Phantom Menace is an interesting one for me. I saw The Phantom Menace in 3D because I wasn't alive when this movie came out. And I remember somewhat liking The Phantom Menace. I read the novelization when I was in 4th grade. I remember being obsessed with Darth Maul in classic, who doesn't like Darth Maul fashion. I was obsessed with Darth Maul. I gotta say, my thoughts on this movie, I have more fond memories with the Lego levels than I do this movie. This movie is just very boring. The pod race is fine. I've never been super into the pod race like other people are. But, I mean, it's subjectively neat, but I don't care much for it. The fight at the end is awesome when you're watching it super cut on YouTube. When you watch the movie, it's intercut with like Anakin piloting a starfighter on his own as a little boy, and the Naboo army like retaking the capital. If it was just the Naboo army retaking the capital intercut with the Darth Maul fight, it would have been fine. Having Anakin blow up a droid station on his own, a bit ridiculous. Like, I get what they were going for. I'm not going to defend it. I think it's dumb. And, I think this deserves C tier. I used to say this movie was actually better than one of the other prequels, and I will tell you right now, it still is. Because I will be putting Attack of the Clones in the D tier. This movie is garbage. The Geonosian fight, great. The arena fight, awesome. But that's not all that this movie is. It's also like a bad romantic subplot. And you know, the stuff on Kamino is awesome. I love the stuff on Kamino. So let me lay it out. The stuff on Kamino, the Geonosian battle. Those are the only things that I even remotely like about that movie. Everything else is awful. I love the seismic charges. I love those. When that showed up in The Mandalorian, I lost my mind. I was like, yo, that's sick. But I think Attack of the Clones is not good, like at all. I think it's really bad. The Dooku fight is like fine. The stuff with the glowing lightsabers in the dark when they're like close-ups of them waving around, that shit's so fucking stupid. Be real. That shit's so dumb. That was horrible when I saw that. Alright. Attack of the Clones goes in the D tier, not the F tier. It's not that bad. Goes in the D tier. But like the Yoda fight is okay. My little kid brain was like, "Oh, that's cool." I think it also shows how quick the violence Yoda was in the prequel era. For the lore, it's good. I think for the lore, it shows that. And once somebody pointed this out, it made me upset. For the lore, it's good. I think it's good to show that Yoda was way more willing to resort to violence right away in a conflict instead of trying to argue his way out of it like a wise grandmaster should. I do like that it shows that. I wish they had dialed his age back just a little bit and gotten rid of the cane. If they had shown that he developed the cane problem during that fight, perfect. That would have been perfect. If they had had Yoda get some kind of like injury during that fight, and that's why he has the cane, that would have been great. I don't like that Yoda is old and crippled throughout the entire prequels. And I fear that the Acolyte would have done the same thing. I'm going to talk about the Acolyte later, but with the season 2 that was supposed to come out that isn't anymore, they teased Yoda at the end of the first season. And I'm like afraid because Yoda looks old in that clip. And I am fearful that, like, if they had made a second season and shown Yoda, Yoda would have remained old in the second season. Yoda's not that old during the High Republic era. There's art of him as a young Yoda. And I'm so upset that they keep making Yoda old and everything. I want to see either an animated or a live action Yoda. A young Yoda. Please. I don't need to know his origin. I just want to see a young Jedi Yoda. Yeah, Attack of the Clones D tier. Alright, Revenge of the Sith. I love Revenge of the Sith. I love this movie. Is this movie good? It's better than the other 2 prequels, I'll tell you that much. I would say this movie is pretty good. Where would I put it on a tier list? That is a good question. I would probably put this movie... I would put it in between Return of the Jedi and A New Hope. Yeah, I would put it right there. I think it's pretty good. I think it's got the Star Wars camp that it needs. I think it's got the action that it needs. I love the final fights in this prequel were done right. Actually all the fights, because I forgot there's not just a final fight. There are like 4 total fights. It's the most lightsaber battles I think any Star Wars movie has. He fights Dooku with Obi-Wan in the beginning. I love that fight. That fight's awesome. That duel is awesome. The Grievous fight is okay. I remember watching it on YouTube when I was a kid in like 2010 or 11, like going on YouTube and typing in General Grievous versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then waiting for it to buffer for like a 2-minute clip. My stomach hurts, dude. I have to like fart or something. I don't know. But yeah, I love the fights in that movie. The Grievous fight is okay. The Dooku fight is really good. Kind of shows that Anakin's embracing more of like a dark side to him. I love it. Do it. I love that. Do it. And I love the Obi-Wan fight being intercut with the Emperor fight. That is how you do it. That is how you intercut action scenes. You don't do 3 of them and make one of them a 9-year-old flying a fighter jet and the other one a ragtag army taking over a Capitol building, and then the other one being a lightsaber duel, a really cool lightsaber duel. Don't do that. This is how it's done. I think this movie is really well made. The CGI holds up surprisingly well. I think I just need water, by the way. Kind of going through a crisis at the moment. What's up, guys? Did you know we have a Patreon channel? If you want to go over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod, you can support this podcast. For $1 a month, you can simply just send me $1. For $3 a month, not only are you sending me $3 for support, you also get your own Discord channel and your own role on the Discord. And if you send me $10 a month, with a 7-day free trial included in that, you get all of my bonus content, including your own feed that includes these episodes and the bonus episodes. So if you want to hear my thoughts that I don't usually say on the public episodes, including a more just chill kind of episode in general, you can pay $10 a month and get those episodes. There's also a $15 tier with a 7-day free trial that is just sending me an extra $5 if you're feeling like you want to send me an extra $5. It's the same as the $10 tier. And there's a $100 tier. That's the same thing. If you want to send me $100 to support the project, go for it. It has the same benefits of the other tiers. So go on over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod and get some bonus content or a Discord channel or both. Back to the episode. I think Revenge of the Sith is actually really good, all things considered. Yeah. So that's where I would put Revenge of the Sith on this list. What's the next one? Oh, the Clone Wars movie. I'm not gonna lie. Clone Wars movie is not that good. Yeah, the Clone Wars movie is not very good. I love the Clone Wars, and you'll see where I rank it later. This movie's not very good at all. I would go as far to say it's probably in between D and C tier, so I'll put it there. Yeah, very, very, very rough movie to watch. So now, I don't even have many criticisms for this. It's clearly 4 episodes of the season 1 of the Clone Wars smashed together. The scripts were rough for the Clone Wars starting out. The animation was not very buffed out at the very beginning. The choice to make it a theatrical release is beyond strange to me. There were a lot of issues with this movie leading up to it. Like, that went into it. I believe the only decent choices they made were having the actors play the voices for the Clone Wars movie, and only the movie. I think that's an okay choice, although I will say Christopher Lee does not sound good in this movie. It's really odd. He's such a good actor, like legendary actor. He does not sound all that great in the Clone Wars movie. I will just say that right now. Samuel L. Jackson, I believe, is in this movie as well. He sounds fine. Sounds normal. But yeah, no, Christopher Lee sounds rough as Count Dooku in this movie. It's actually really jarring. If you watch the Clone Wars and then you watch the Clone Wars movie, it's super jarring. I think even coming off the movies, it's really jarring because he's not a very like. I don't know. I don't think he works well in a voice acting role like that as Dooku. I don't know if it was like age or something or what, but something's off in the Clone Wars movie with his voice. But those are my thoughts on the Clone Wars movie. C and D tier. It's kind of in between. It's not as bad as Attack of the Clones, but it's not that good either. Next one is The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is fine. It's fine. I liked it when it came out. I was thoroughly entertained when it came out. So entertained, in fact, that I followed fan theories. I watched lore videos about it. I rewatched the movie multiple times. I was so excited for The Last Jedi to come out. Honestly, like, I'm obviously reviewing these movies with the hindsight that The Rise of Skywalker exists. So it kind of ruins the movies for me. I'm gonna say that this movie ultimately is super lazy. It's just a soulless Star Wars movie, it feels like. Set up some interesting concepts that are never resolved. Sets up plot lines that never follow through. It kind of makes Finn, like, props up Finn as an important character, and then it just kind of shits on that. Like, he's a former stormtrooper, or he's a stormtrooper that turns his back on the First Order, and then he just doesn't really care after that. Like, he kills stormtroopers with no regard. He's immediately all on board with the Resistance cause for the most part. I don't know. I think this movie created a lot of missed opportunities and created a lot of issues that wouldn't be addressed later on down the line. Moving on, we have Rogue One. Controversial opinion here. I like Rogue One a lot, actually. Hence why I left this slot open in the A tier. I really like Rogue One. Which is why I'm going to be putting it in the A tier. Rogue One's good. I think some of the character work is kind of shoddy, but overall, I think this movie's pretty well condensed, and I think it actually creates a really strong story for the lead up to A New Hope. I do like the idea of the rebellion, like, barely squeaking by with this victory. The original trilogy doesn't do a fantastic job of showing just how dominant the Empire is versus the rebellion. You're kind of under the impression that the rebellion is like this large organization that has a pretty decent standing in the overall galactic civil war. And Rogue One really shows just how much of a ragtag terrorist group the rebellion really is. Like, that's what the rebellion is supposed to be. It's supposed to be what America would basically consider a terrorist group. They are you know, very understaffed, underfunded. I mean, you see how they recruit people, you see how loose their operations are. They start talking about actually attacking an Imperial base, and a bunch of the people in the voting room are immediately like, oh no, I'm leaving. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Like, they're very much kind of cowardly. Rogue One establishes just how small they are versus the Empire, and also shows how the rebellion strengthens itself leading into A New Hope. And then why it's a much larger organization in Empire Strikes Back. Enough to consider the conflict the Galactic Civil War. And then in the Return of the Jedi, they beat the Empire. So, spoiler alert, Rogue One does a good job of really showing just how tiny the rebels are. And I love the Battle of Scarif. And I love the Darth Vader hallway scene. Oh my good golly goosh. I love the hallway scene. Moving on to The Last Jedi. Now, I have a controversial opinion on this. And honestly, that could swing either way, because this movie is very much split down the middle, it seems, for a lot of people. On Google Reviews, it has a 2.2. On IMDb, it has a 6.9. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 41. And a 91% review score, by the way. If that doesn't tell you what, reviewers think about it, it's a decent Star Wars movie. I like this movie. Do I think it's the best Star Wars movie? Absolutely not. Do I think it's good? Yes. Did I watch it in theaters and go, wow, that was a breath of fresh air? Absolutely. Let's be so real here. The Last Jedi did something that a lot of other Star Wars movies don't do, which is break tradition and do something a little more unique. Oh my sweet fucking Lord. I'm so sick of these goddamn Star Wars projects doing the same tropes, doing the same stuff, all for tradition. Oh my God, look, his hand being cut off is a reference to yada yada yada. Shut up. Fuck you. Eat ass. I love this movie, and I think it's a decent movie because it's creative. And it took a leap of faith into a new direction for Star Wars and set up some pretty interesting concepts. I do really love that Rey's parents were nobody. That it really is just simply anyone that will save the galaxy. There is no prophetic, being that comes along and balances the Force this time around. It's just a person with no connection to the conflict that was essentially roped into it. I do love that. I love the contrast between Dagobah and whatever the island planet's called. I forgot what it's called. What's it called? I forgot. The island planet that Luke is on. I love the contrast between these two training sessions. Yoda being like the wise master that's been waiting for Luke to show up, versus Luke, who wants nothing to do with it and is begrudgingly teaching her things just cause. I love that concept. I love the Yoda puppet that they did. He looks very much like the original trilogy Yoda. And I do like how jovial he is, like he is in Empire. I like the fake out that Luke did at the end during the final battle. The only part of the movie, I like everything. I love the hyperspace ram. I love all of it. I'm a deep Star Wars lore nerd. I do not see a problem with the hyperspace ram. I really don't. I've heard, them say, "Oh, why don't people just do it all the time?" What are we talking about? What kind of argument is that? What argument are we talking about here? Why would an entity kamikaze large flagships all the time? What a giant waste of money, and what an ineffective strategy. It worked that one time. It was like a last-ditch effort. It worked that one time. You know, it's not really something that... Also, I think they even do something similar to that in the Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't see the problem with the hyperspace ram. I think it's a good creative choice. It's something we've never seen before, and I think it was done well. I liked Last Jedi. The only thing I don't like are the casino scenes. The message behind them is good. It's about the military-industrial complex. It's about war profiteering, that, you know, these guys will sell weapons to both sides just to profit off of a war. They don't care. And I think that's a good commentary to have. You know, Star Wars has always been about imperialism and, rebel insurgency groups fighting back against an imperial superpower. The movies are literally based on, the original trilogy is literally based on the Vietnam conflict, where America is the empire and Vietnam are the rebels. Or Viet Cong are the rebels. So I like the idea. I like the discussion being made in a Star Wars movie about the military-industrial complex. But I think the entire sequence in general is just really boring. And it was definitely the scene that I was told to go to the bathroom during, and I did. So don't worry, I've watched the scenes now. I've rewatched the movie like 8 times. In my opinion, it's flip-flopped a lot, but like in the last 3 years, it has stayed pretty consistent. Not even 3. The last 5 years, I've stayed fairly consistent on my opinion on it now. But for the first couple of years that it had been out, I was definitely flip-flopping a lot. But that's what I think about The Last Jedi. I actually do like the movie. Controversial take. It spawned the career of like 1,000 right-wing douchebags who were criticizing it for the wrong reasons. You know, all of them criticizing it for the wrong reasons. There are so many things that you can criticize that movie for that are not the things that they were saying. So many people harping on Rey being like this somewhat gifted in the Force figure. You know, what about it? Like, you know, this is why I bring up Anakin as a 9-year-old flying a starfighter in The Phantom Menace. Like, this is why I bring that up, because why are we even discussing characters being unnaturally good at doing things despite not doing them before? Also, them saying, how come she's so good at using a lightsaber? I want you to think about it like this. In the fight with Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, she already has decent skills with her staff. They show that in the beginning of the movie, that she's pretty good at using that staff. So we already have like someone with base level sword fighting skills. Another guy who is a trained stormtrooper, who they show another stormtrooper being trained in another sword-like weapon. Earlier in the movie, they show that to establish that it's possible Finn also probably has a similar level of training. It's both of them versus a Kylo Ren that has a bowcaster wound in his side that he keeps latching onto, and he just killed his dad. So he's like super emotionally conflicted. He's not drawing from the dark side like he usually probably should, like Sith do. He's injured, just did something insanely morally questionable that even he doesn't seem to fully agree with. And he's fighting a person that has pretty decent level melee weapon skills and a former stormtrooper who also has seemingly gotten some level of training in sword fighting. That's the scene that people are like, oh, how is she able to beat Kylo Ren, a trained blah, blah, blah? What do you mean? It's a 2v1. The two already have basic level skills. The one who might be really good at using a lightsaber is injured and just killed his father after a long bout of moral conflict. So I don't know what more you guys want. Solo. This one's very controversial. People didn't like this one because it came off the backs of The Last Jedi. It was kind of doomed from the start. It released around the time Infinity War did, which is really weird. Really weird time to release a Star Wars movie 6 months after the last one. Not even 6 months, like 5 months. This movie, a lot of people are not fans of. I kind of like it, actually. There's certain things I don't like. I don't like Maul showing up. I think the Syndicate being in it is cool. The whatever they call the guy with the lines on his face, Vision. I like this movie. I think it's pretty decent. I wish they had made the other movies like they said they were going to, but they didn't because they didn't market this movie, and then it didn't do well because they didn't market it, and also it got negative reviews because coming off the back of The Last Jedi, and also it came out around the same time the Infinity War did, so people didn't go and see it because they wanted to see Infinity War instead. But who knows? I think this movie's actually kind of good. I think people give it a bad rap. I think people are overly critical of this movie for no reason. I think it's a good movie. And the actor for Han Solo does a really good job of portraying what I would envision a young Han Solo to be like. He's not just doing a Harrison Ford. He's not just doing a Harrison Ford impression and passing that off like it's Han. He's actually playing a young Han Solo. Also, he's really good in Cocaine Bear. I like Cocaine Bear. It takes place in my home state. It's funny. Anyways, I like Solo. I like the concepts. It reminds me of like a Clone Wars episode extended. And in a different era. Yeah. Here, yeah. Wired said it may be inessential, but it's also utterly delightful. There you go. It's a charming movie. Do we need a Solo origin movie? No. Is it a good movie and actually kind of entertaining to watch? Yes. The Kessel Run, awesome. I love the Kessel Run. I like seeing Han Solo win it in a game of Sabacc. Win the Falcon in a game of Sabacc. I like seeing the old Falcon before it was super damaged. I like seeing all of that. Let me be entertained for once. My fucking God, man. I just want to watch something entertaining for once. All right, the bad one. That landed perfectly. The bad one. The Rise of Skywalker. Movie's a hot piece of shit. Like a hot piece of garbage. I have so many things to criticize this movie for. One of them is the fact that the movie completely destroys hyperspace travel. I talked about the hyperspace RAM and how I don't think it breaks any of the lore. I think it actually is fine. Like it's pretty well explained that the hyperspace RAM is just her hitting the ship right before entering hyperspace. And hyperspace is believed to be a wormhole pretty much, so it's basically a other dimension level wormhole that doesn't interact with outside space, or at least shouldn't be able to. And The Rise of Skywalker just kind of is like, oh, they need to do like calculations and all that, and it's been made a big deal in the past that you need to have like some kind of calculating computer to jump into hyperspace, and hyperspace they have certain hyperspace lanes that they have to take, and the galaxy is actually fairly far apart. The planets are pretty spaced out. It is indeed space. It's going to take a while to go from planet to planet. Hyperspace jump, hyperspace jump, hyperspace jump, 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 jump. And, it makes for a cool visual, but it doesn't make any sense. And then, they go, we have, 19 hours before the final order is launched on Exegol. And then they're like, all right, we need to go here. Jump. All right, we're here. Let's go talk to someone for like 3 hours. All right, now we need to go here. Jump. All right, we're here immediately. If you look at like a galactic map in Star Wars, let me see if I can find someone talking about it. Let me see. Here. The time limit in The Rise of Skywalker is an unnecessary choice that makes the story make less sense. 16 hours. The movie seemingly treats hyperspeed traveling as just teleporting around the galaxy with no travel time between their time spent on planets. Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. Yeah, they travel across the entire galaxy, pretty much, with time to spend on planets, with them also mentioning that Rey spends a night fixing the X-Wing. 16 hours, my ass. That's like 5 days, at least. That's like 2 weeks, Star Wars time. Dude, it used to take them like full days to go across the galaxy in Star Wars. I don't know how you fit this into the canon. Into any of the lore. I really don't know how. There's also the fight scene at the end where it's just the same fight scene but looped. There's a guy that went over that. I don't remember what video it was, but it's essentially like she's fighting the guards and then kills all of them, and then it cuts back to her and she's fighting the same guards in the exact same fight, with the special effects being changed to show slightly different ways that they die. But they still, like, they fall in the same way. It's the same guards, like, it's the same fight looped. They just didn't want to film another fight. It's one of the laziest and craziest things I've seen in a Star Wars movie. So yeah, I think it deserves F tier. It's a dog shit movie. Not a lot of effort put in, but also at the same time, Abrams kind of didn't have a whole lot of time to work on that movie. The original plan had to be scrapped because Colin Trevorrow left the project. So yeah. So I don't know if it's fully his fault, but still, not a good movie. All right, let's move on to the shows. So let me make a new tier list for the shows specifically. All right. Oh, here's our final tier list for the Star Wars movies. Empire at S tier, Rogue One at A, A New Hope at A, Revenge of the Sith A, Return of the Jedi A, The Last Jedi A, Force Awakens B, Solo B, Phantom Menace is C, Clone Wars is C and D, and then Attack of the Clones is D, Rise of Skywalker F. Moving on, we have the Clone Wars season 1 through 2. And so I'll be lumping certain seasons in with each other because I feel the same about them. Um, I'm lumping some in because I feel the same about certain seasons than I do about others. So season 1 through 2 of the Clone Wars. C. It's got a lot of duds. A lot of duds. The Cad Bane stuff is neat. The animation's not very good. I think the clones act. I mean, they act according to how the story should go for the show, but I think the animation on all of it is just really bad, and I think the Ahsoka stuff, where Ahsoka has to learn to be a bit more mature, should have happened way faster than it did. I think it took too long for them to mature Ahsoka to like not being a teenager that doesn't really face any consequences for her actions. But that's where I would put Clone Wars season 1 through 2. Clone Wars season 3 gets its own ranking. What even happened in season 3 again? Wasn't that when the Citadel happened and all that? I would say this one is definitely a big step up. I'm gonna put it in B tier because I do enjoy this season more. I watch season 3 through 7 more than I watch 1 through 2, like far more. So yeah, I like season 3. I don't really have much to say about that one, other than like Savage is a cool character. Season 3 through 4, or 4 through 5, I mean 4 through 5. Oh my god, banger after banger, dude. Maul is reintroduced. All of the Mandalore stuff that we get, the Umbara arc, the Reiko Hardeen stuff. Oh my gosh. What a collection. The Satine episodes with Obi-Wan. Man, what a 2-season stretch. I actually do really like season 4 through 5. I think those are really good. I'm going to use a season 5 poster for this one. But oh my gosh. And all the Palpatine stuff that we get too with the Emperor. Yeah, I love the Mandalore arc. I love the Ahsoka framing arc. Umbara is probably my favorite arc in the Clone Wars. Maul returning is cool. Yeah. I don't know what more to say. I'm gonna give actually season 5 the S tier. Season 6. I ain't gonna lie to you. This season's dog ass. They chose, like, I love the inhibitor chip arc. The Clovis stuff and the Jar Jar Binks stuff, what a waste. I think that's just so wasteful of a final season. Like what they thought would be the final season at the time. So, that's my thoughts on that. The inhibitor chip stuff is interesting. The other stuff is not very good. It's Clone Wars Season 7. You know what? Originally, I was going to give this an A. I'm going to give it an S. The Ahsoka arc in the middle is annoying because 2 of the episodes are redundant. And it's a bit of a boring arc. But the Bad Batch arc and the Siege of Mandalore are... The Siege of Mandalore is good enough to boost this into a tier of its own above S. So I'm going to put it at S. I think those 2 arcs carry that season more than the second arc could ever ruin it. Ugh, I have like drainage going down my throat. It's so annoying. I love season 7 though. I watched it when it came out. I watched all the Clone Wars pretty much when they were airing, but season 7 specifically, I remember watching it during the pandemic. Oh my gosh. The Siege of Mandalore is the best Clone Wars arc. I would say it's Umbara and Siege of Mandalore are tied for me. Siege of Mandalore is the best Clone Wars arc in the entire Clone Wars, hands down. And it's the last one, and you could tell they really went all out for it. I always knew that the Siege of Mandalore was supposed to be the final battle in the Clone Wars, like for the Ahsoka part of the Clone Wars. Excuse me. Because they talk about it in some canon content. Like, I believe the Ahsoka book touches on it. I know there are sources that discuss the Siege of Mandalore. So I knew that the Siege of Mandalore was supposed to take place. It taking place like that, it's such a good arc. I love seeing the Mandalorians and the clones fight side by side, because the clones are like obviously modeled after the Mandalorians and are cloned from a Mandalorian, from a Death Watch member. So it is really sick. And actually a really cool like story element to have all these clones of a former Death Watch member who left Death Watch to work for the Separatists, basically fighting who is now the Death Watch, who is ruling over Mandalore. I think that's really cool. So yeah, that's what I think about the Clone Wars. These are my rankings. Season 1 through 2 and season 3. Or no, what is that? Season 6. Season 1 through 2 and season 6, C tier. Season 3, B tier. Season 4 through 5 and 7, S tier television. Staying in the era of Clone Wars style animation, Tales of the Jedi. I think and I love Ahsoka, don't get me wrong. I didn't need to see baby Ahsoka. I don't think I care that much. We didn't need more Ahsoka content is my point. Like, the Clone Wars is about Ahsoka. We should have done, the Dooku arc is fine because it shows an era that we've never seen of, like, Dooku. Only stuff we've ever heard. And I think we needed that, those episodes. And I really enjoyed them. And because I've read Jedi Lost, the Dooku novel. It's on my shelf back there. I've read that book. He has a good backstory. The Ahsoka stuff, I don't know. I feel like we didn't learn anything new about her. I mean, we saw how she trained to prevent Order 66 from happening to her, but like, we could have just inferred that she was just that well trained because Anakin was her master. The baby thing I didn't care much for it. Like, I see the point of it, but I didn't care much for it. The Inquisitor thing was cool. I liked the Inquisitor episode. That one's the only good Ahsoka one in that series. I think the Inquisitor one is good. I'm going to put it at A tier. The Dooku episodes carry, and the Inquisitor episode is really good too. But the baby Ahsoka episode and the Clone Wars training episode are mid. So, Tales of the Empire. Let's go. Tales of the Empire. I'm going to put this at B tier. Why am I doing that? Tales of the Empire is not a bad show. My problems with it are that they teased Darth Vader. Darth Vader's in it for like 3 seconds. The Barriss Offee episodes, awesome. I love them. The Morgan Elsbeth episodes, I don't give a fuck about Morgan Elsbeth. Seeing Thrawn in live action was cool. And I think watching the New Republic show up and all of them dying, and that's what leads to the episode in The Mandalorian. I think that happening I think those episodes are you know, I think that's fine. I fear that they only did the Morgan Elsbeth episodes as an excuse to animate Thrawn in the Clone Wars animation. That's my fear. I'm fine. I'm cool that we got a Thrawn Clone Wars animation model, but you know, I don't. If that was the only reason why they chose that character to do an arc on, or to do an episode on, I'm really upset that that's why. I hope that's not the case. But moving on, The Bad Batch Season 1. I think Season 1 is a really good jumping off point for The Bad Batch, and it establishes them pretty well. I love that they kept the Clone Wars animation. If they had done a Rebels animation style, I think I would have actually flushed my head down the toilet. But I do like that the animation style was kept, and I think it's a really good establishing show for The Bad Batch. I don't really have much to say other than I just really like it. Season 2 is a different story for me. I love Tech, so that's the one thing that I have an issue with, the fact that Tech dies in Season 2. Because I absolutely love Tech. Tech is like probably my favorite Bad Batch clone, if not one of my favorite clones in general. But that's obviously not my issue with the season. It's fine to sacrifice a character in a way like that. Like his sacrifice was good. It was well executed. My real problem is how much filler there is. Oh my goodness golly. There's 16 episodes a season. More than what the Clone Wars got for Season 7, FYI. We could have gotten a Sons of Dathomir arc in the Clone Wars Season 7. And we did not. We could have gotten the Crystal Crisis on Utapau. And we did not. And The Bad Batch gets 16 episodes a season. They waste 12 of those episodes on filler. I don't need to see Tech racing. I don't need to see that. I don't care. So I think Season 2 is mid. Season 3, they locked in. They locked the fuck in. This season's awesome. It's goated. Absolutely goated. I loved the season. I love that no one died. I do enjoy a happy ending from time to time. I am glad these characters got a happy ending, because, oh my god. You don't need to kill every character in a story to make it good. You know, just being real here. There's some missed opportunities. I wish we had gotten to see Cody again. Yeah, I wish we had gotten to see Cody again. And, you know, a couple other things I wish we had seen, but I actually do like the third season a lot. What's the next one? So we're exiting this era. We're going to talk about one Legends show. There is one Legends show that I want to rank. Clone Wars 2003. What do I think about Clone Wars 2003? And I'm ranking Volume 1 and 2 together because they're about the same level for me. You know what? It's A tier. I like it. I like the fast-paced nature. I like how they show Anakin time to time. I do like the dark side thing that happens right before the battle on Coruscant. I do like the actual, like, showing us Grievous capturing Palpatine on Coruscant. One thing I find really cool is that this all aired in 2003, meaning that if you watched Revenge of the Sith after watching this show, it all connected it. Because we knew that Palpatine was captured by Grievous before Revenge of the Sith even came out. And, like, this show also explains why Grievous coughs. And it's because Mace Windu force crushed his rib cage around his lungs. But yeah, I do like Clone Wars 2003. It's good. I'm ranking Rebels as a whole because I feel the same about every season. The animation quality, not great. It has like that Disney level animation. I do not like the animation quality. Story quality, a little too kid-like for me. And I don't like how unseriously it's taken. And I'm not a fan of the story. It's too kidified for me. And thus it goes in C tier. Mandalorian Season 1. Honestly, guys, this is peak television. This is a really good... This is what got me back into Star Wars. If this didn't come out and The Rise of Skywalker was the only thing that came out during that time, I would have stopped watching Star Wars. I only still watch Star Wars for stuff like this. I am putting The Mandalorian in A tier. Season 1. I do like Season 1. It's a good establishment season. Season 2... I'm not gonna lie. I think this season had too much filler and relied too much on cameos. And thus it gets put in B tier because I'm just not a fan of that. Like, seeing Ahsoka and seeing Bo-Katan and stuff is cool and all. Seeing Luke at the end is neat. I'm okay. I don't need to see all that. Seeing Cobb Vanth was cool. He's from the Aftermath trilogy, and so seeing him was actually really neat. The Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett. We're ranking the Book of Boba Fett. This show is, honestly, probably fucking... mixed. I'm gonna put it in D tier. If they had restructured the show to not have flashbacks and just have it tell the story in order, and then after the stuff in the past is over, they fleshed out some of the story better, then it could have been a good show. If they had introduced Cad Bane in like episode 3, I think it would have been better. If they had not put an entire episode dedicated to the Mandalorian, and it actually really 2 episodes dedicated to the Mandalorian in it, it would have been fine. Leave all that stuff out for Mandalorian Season 3. I don't like that there's a Grogu reunion at the end. It makes Season 2 and Season 3 feel disconnected from each other. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Book of Boba Fett's not very good. Season 3 of The Mandalorian. I actually do really like this season. I like the focus on Mandalore. You know, the Mandalorians. I do like this season. There's an episode or 2 here and there that are a little dumb, but other than that, I actually do like the 3rd season a lot more than I like the 2nd season. Ahsoka, I'm kind of firing through these, but like I don't have much thoughts on these. Ahsoka, I do have some thoughts on. Why is there an AI photo in the first result? Holy shit, I forgot one. I'll get to it in a second. Ahsoka. It's okay. I'll put it in B. I do like the stuff with Anakin. I think it actually did serve a story purpose and wasn't just a cameo. I do like some of the stuff in this show. I like some of the themes. It's like a better Rebels almost, but it's still not the best. I like the conflict with Sabine. I do like that the show ended with leaving them out of the galaxy, possibly leading to that just being the conclusion of their story. I think I'm fine with that. I think their story ended pretty well, actually. And I think I just love all the Anakin stuff, man. I love it. The show I forgot to put on my list was Kenobi, by the way. Obi-Wan Kenobi. This show had a good last 2 episodes. If the last 2 episodes, if the quality of the show was the same as the last 2 episodes of it, this would have been the most goated show of all time. But unfortunately, only the last 2 episodes are good. God, in that last Vader fight, I think I've rewatched it like 15 times. I'm gonna put this next to Ahsoka. It has the same level of like, missing potential factor for me. You ready for this one? Oh, this one's gonna be good. Andor. Yeah. I love Andor so much. Andor is possibly the best Star Wars show to ever come out. I absolutely love this show. The show is awesome. And I would say it's actually probably better than the Clone Wars to some extent. I love Andor. It's so perfect. It's so well done. If this was a tier list of these compared to real TV shows, nothing would go above S except for maybe a season or 2 of the Clone Wars and Andor. Andor would blow most television shows out of the water. It is such a good show in general, let alone a Star Wars show. Oh my God. Dude, it's literally how a regular everyday man gets radicalized to fight against a tyrannical superpower. That's literally what it's about. Someone put this perfectly, but it's like the first arc is, him like basically leaving Ferrix because he's being hunted down by the Empire. The second arc is him learning theory. That he's learning theory and using that ideology, he gets through basically robbing the Imperial government. He then gets arrested and is put through the criminal justice system, the corrupt criminal justice system. Stages a prison break. And then goes on to basically start spreading the word of what the Empire is doing, thus forming basically a mini rebellion, then joins the rebellion by the end of the first season. I am so excited for a second season, and it comes out in April, I believe. I'm so excited. Knowing Tony Gilroy, I feel like it'll be great. Moving on. The Acolyte. I have reviewed The Acolyte before. I won't lie. This show has some issues, but overall, I do like it. It has good lore. It has good lightsaber fights. Great choreography. It has an interesting concept. Some cool moral questions. Shows the crumbling of. Shows the transition from like the pure High Republic era, transitioning into a more corrupt political era. I do like that idea. The issue is like some of the writing is clunky, some of the dialogue isn't great, some of the acting is hit or miss. Classic Star Wars shit. And I don't think we needed an entire 2 episodes dedicated to the twins' origin story. I don't think we needed that. It was I see what she was going for, but I don't think we needed it. I think it's a waste of 2 episodes. Should have just shown the one. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think that's where it belongs. Has a lot of potential and good concepts. Not all that well executed, but still a cool concept. I wish it had gotten a second season. I don't understand why a second season is still in the question for the Book of Boba Fett and fucking Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, but not the Acolyte. The hate is way under. They do not deserve. That show does not deserve the level of hate that it has gotten. So, the last show I have on here is Visions. I have not watched Star Wars Visions, unfortunately, so I cannot rank that. But I've heard it's a great show. I do own a Visions t-shirt, so I guess call me a poser. But yeah. One day I'll get around to watching it. I'm just lazy. But I just have a piece of hair sticking out of the side. I do. Alright. Now I did say I have a bonus ranking. And here, let me save this one real fast. I do have a bonus ranking. And it is Harry Potter movies. And I'll be firing through these pretty fast. I already have my ratings written down. So the Sorcerer's Stone. I will be giving the Sorcerer's Stone a B. Oop, hold on. A B. Now, I think the Sorcerer's Stone is a good introduction movie. It's not my favorite. You know, it's got a lot of like the ooh ah thing going on. And I'm not a huge fan of that. But, you know, I think it's a good introduction movie and lays the groundwork for a lot of stuff later in the series. And also, we're going to be firing through this. Chamber of Secrets is one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. It's one of the first ones I remember watching. This movie is really good. And I like that it dives deeper into like cooler magical concepts. I'll be giving it an A. I love this movie. I think I have it on DVD. Prisoner of Azkaban. My bad, I didn't copy an image, I copied the text. Alright, Prisoner of Azkaban. Sorry about that cut. My OBS and my graphics drivers completely crashed. And thankfully the recording is intact. So, Prisoner of Azkaban. People get their heads twisted in a wad about this one because of the Time Turner. It is really weird to me that people don't understand the Time Turner, and I'm giving it an S, by the way. I love this movie. It is really weird to me that people get their mind wrapped around the Time Turner, and they don't understand it. I think it was pretty straightforward, that like anything you're going to do with the Time Turner has already happened. Like, it would be impossible to mess up using the Time Turner because you can't change what has already happened. So if you are like, if you've never seen yourself in the from the future before, then when you use the Time Turner, more than likely, you're not going to be able to do that again. Like, you're not going to be able to make yourself see yourself. What has happened has already happened. There's no changing that. But I like The Prisoner of Azkaban. I like the introduction of Sirius Black. And yeah. This next ranking is going to be very controversial. I like The Goblet of Fire. The Goblet of Fire, I like this movie. The book is very different. From what I've heard, the director of this movie did not like the book very much. And so the movie does deviate off the book a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot, apparently. And I don't mind that. I see the movies as a completely separate entity to the books, because the books obviously go into deeper detail on stuff. There's characters that are in the books that are in the movies, yada, yada, yada. I do like the books, but I also like the movies separate, and I think The Goblet of Fire is a good one. I don't know why people hate on that one so much. I really don't. Order of the Phoenix. This one I'm actually very fond of, because growing up, I remember this one would always be on. This and Goblet of Fire. This one was always on during the holidays, around this time of the year. And I don't know why. But I like the Order of the Phoenix. I would give it an S tier. I love the Voldemort Dumbledore fight at the end. I really do. And I love the. I'm really sad by Sirius Black being killed in that movie. I love the Department of Mysteries and all that stuff. It's just a good movie. My only thing is I wish they had gone deeper into the Order of the Phoenix part of the Order of the Phoenix, like going into deeper detail about the actual order. The Half-Blood Prince. This movie is an interesting one. I would give it a B. No, I don't know why I wrote B. I would give it a higher rating than that. I give it an A. Yeah, I give it an A. I don't know why I gave it a B on my doc here. I would give it an A. It's definitely better than, better than I thought it was when I wrote this. I do like The Half-Blood Prince. The Half-Blood Prince is a good movie. And I like that, like, Draco, is trying to kill Dumbledore during the entire movie too. So, sorry, I'm trying to see if there's anything on my desktop I need to hide. I don't think there is. Yeah, I'm good. But I do like The Half-Blood Prince. It is a good movie. And Dumbledore's death is really sad. The scene with Harry force-feeding Dumbledore the cursed water traumatized me when I was a kid. So, little fun fact. All right, The Deathly Hallows. What an interesting movie. Deathly Hallows Part 1. Part 1. Deathly Hallows Part 1. A. Oop. A. This movie gets an A. I think this movie is really good. I like the hunting Horcruxes concept. I like the dynamic between Harry, Hermione, and Ron. I like that they actually explore it. Ron, he splinched! Yeah, I like it. I like the concept of the Deathly Hallows. I just wish they had been more established earlier in the series. But yeah, I do like the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I think it's a far more cohesive story than the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which I would give a B. I would say that Deathly Hallows Part 2 is rushed. It feels rushed. Which is weird, because this was split into 2 different movies. Maybe it should have been 3. Who knows? I think this movie was rushed. Snape's death always makes me cry. Watching his memories being played out in the Pensieve, or the Pensive makes me. He calls it the Pensieve. The Pensive memories scene always makes me upset. Because it's so emotional. When Snape tells Harry that he has his mother's eyes, that part's devastating. Definitely a very different Snape from the Snape we get in the books. But yeah, I while I do like this movie, I think it's definitely very rushed. And like I said, the Deathly Hallows are not very well explained. Like, the Resurrection Stone is used in the movie, and then we never see it again. The Cloak of Invisibility just vanishes, no explanation. I'm closing my window. The Cloak of Invisibility just kind of vanishes with no conclusion for that. And the Elder Wand is just snapped in half. I assume that was kind of the point, right? Was that getting rid of the Deathly Hallows is like a good thing to prevent another Voldemort. But I don't know. If it was gone into more detail earlier in the series, that would have been nice. But oh, and the Deathly Hallows spawned a movement where every middle-aged white mom needed to put the Deathly Hallows symbol on the back of their Honda Pilot and Honda CRVs and Dodge Caravans and whatnot. So yeah. All right, that's my little speed ranking of the Harry Potter movies. That was fun. My throat hurts, so I'm gonna wrap it up. One last thing I wanted to talk about that has nothing to do with anything we just did. Cool little update. Matt Gaetz dropped out of the Attorney General running up. How fun is that? He dropped out, so no longer will we get alleged pedophile rapist as our Attorney General. Instead, we will just get someone I really don't know that much about. But from what I've heard, she's not great. But anywho, he also said something like he wouldn't get enough Senate votes. Okay, yeah, sure. That's your reason, because you weren't going to get enough Senate votes. Whatever. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, if you celebrate. Hope you had a good feast. I know I probably will. I haven't had it yet, but I know I probably will. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. And listen to us on streaming platforms where you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next Friday. Peace.